Good morning, everyone. This is Bremster, and today I'm coming to you with a puzzle called Mum by James Kopp. Um, this is a puzzle that James sent me just a couple of days ago, which I'm actually rearranging my queue to fit in so that I can release this on Mother's Day, which is what he sent it to me in order to celebrate, I suppose is the right word. Yeah, Mother's Day, it's always a nice day to try and celebrate. And if you get the opportunity, call your mother, say hi, wish her a nice day. And if you don't have that opportunity, take the time to, try and remember the good times. Hopefully you've got them. Anyway, I do need to apologize to the people whose videos have been bumped by a day or so in order to fit in some of the special event puzzles, including this one. But yeah, that's the way it goes. On the topic of special events, so on the 13th, Friday the 13th of May, we are hoping, or I am hoping, to release the polarizing Sudoku pack. There is still a lot of work to do on that one. The pack has hit about 50 puzzles, but it is going to run for over a month. So it will be the pack for both May and June on my channel. So it's not going to be anything you have to race through. You'll be able to just sit back and enjoy the puzzles. We've got a lot of quite approachable puzzles in there. There's a few really tricky ones. And we're using the same difficulty rating as we did for March of the Quads. So there are some walks in the park, which are nice and gentle strolls. There's some scenic hikes, which will challenge you a little bit more. And then there's some treks into the wilderness, which will definitely challenge even the more experienced people who want to take the journey into Sudoku. But for now, let's just enjoy Mother's Day with Mum by James Kopp. So there's a few rules in play. The first one, normal Sudoku rules. In every box, in every row and in every column, the digits 1 to 9 must be placed without repetition. We then have Kropki pairs. So cells separated by a black dot must have a 1 to 2 ratio. One must be double the other. Cells separated by a white dot must be consecutive. Not all dots are given. Then we've got these big M shapes, which are whisper lines. And the rule about whisper lines is adjacent cells on whisper lines must be different by at least 5. So if we were to pick any two cells on a whisper line, the adjacent digits must be at least 5 apart. The most obvious result of this is you can never put 5 on a whisper line. Because if you go 5 down from 5, you hit 0, which is not a valid Sudoku digit. And if you go 5 up from 5, you hit 10, which is also not a valid Sudoku digit. And the closer you are to 5, the more constrained you are on a whisper line. The last rule in play is between line, which is this line here, which is the digits that are on the line must be strictly between the digits that are placed in the circles. So whatever these are, these will be between them. That's what we've got to go with. Okay, after a minor technical interruption, let's give this a shot. So I'm going to start by looking at this run of Kropki digits, because there are 3 digits you can never put on a black Kropki dot, which are 5, 7.5, or 7 and 9, because all of those would have a ratio of something and a half or over 10. And 3 and 6 can't go on this because they're only in a relationship with each other. So if I was to do 3, then it'd be 6, and then I'd have to go back to 3 or 6, 3 and 6. So that doesn't work. So these are only from 1, 2, 4 and 8. And I can't put 1 or 8 in the middle, because if I did, then on either side, I'd have to put the same digit. 1 with 2 on each side, or 8 with 4 on each side. So it's 2, 4 in the middle, and it can go 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, or 2, 4, 8, or 2, 4, 8. Either way, 2 and 4 must be in there. This is a run of digits. Okay, let's color these whisper lines. So I'm going to color this. I'm going to use my normal. So one of the things about a whisper line is you will always, apart from also not being able to place a 5 on it, once you place a digit, whether it's below 5 or above 5, because of the 5 difference, it will always leapfrog over the 5. So if you pick any low digit and then make a digit that is 5 different, you will get to a high digit. And if you pick any high digit and make a different digit that is different from by 5, you'll get a low digit. So it will always alternate between high, low, high, low. So if I pick this and say this is going to be, I don't know, let's say it's low, it's not. So I'm just picking one. Then the digits that are adjacent to it would be the other parity or polarity. Then the digits adjacent to those would be the other polarity. And these are actually forming these weird bands. So that's how they line up. Now, these are going to be the same, but they're not connected. So I'm going to use different colors. So this will be green. This will be purple. This will be green. This will be purple. These will be green. These will be purple. And this will be green. So we've got 4 of the same polarity in here. So if these were high, and they could equally be low, but if they were high, I would have to put a 6 into one of these. If they're low, I'd have to put a 4 into one of them. But 6 can only go next to a single digit, the same way that 4 can only go next to a single digit. Because 6 can only go next to 1, 4 can only go next to 9. So I can't put 6 in either of those, because if I did, then the single digit would have to go in both of those or both of those. And that would conflict in the row. So that, whichever the single digit is, 4 or 6, is going to have to go in there, which means this has to be 1 or 9, because it has to go in there, and whichever one it goes into, that is adjacent to it. And the same is true down here, I think. Yes, because this is 4 of the same, and if I put them in here, these will conflict. So it has to go in here, which means this is 1 or 9. But whichever one it goes into, so let's use 6 as an example. Whichever one of the, if this is 6, then this would be 1, and I'd have to put a 1 in here. But if I then put 6 in here and make purple the same as yellow, then I'd also have to put a 1 in here, and I'd end up with 1s conflicting in column 5. So purple can't be yellow. Is that right? Yeah, because if purple was yellow, then I would have to have the same digit in here. And this is the same if this is 4. If this is 4 rather than 6, this would be 9. These would be 9, not 1. And again, if purple is yellow, I have to put 4 in here because I can't put them in here. This becomes 9, and then I have to put 9 in here, and that's, again, I've got 2 9s in the column. So however this works, and I can remove all of these pencil marks. Oops, not the colours. Okay, I'll recolor. So these are blue. I got a bit overzealous there. These are green. These are purple, and this is green. However this works, this is 1 9, this is 1 9, and purple and yellow cannot be the same, because whatever I put in here is going to cause a conflict in here. So yellow, or green, is yellow, and purple is blue. Now I don't know which is which. Because these could still be high or low. But I have been able to tie the polarities together. So is it with 5s? Because 5s are very restricted on whisper lines. So 5s could go there, 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 there. That's wide open, isn't it? There's nothing. These are different. Now I can't put 1 or 9 on a between line. Because if I did, I'd have to put something either lower than 1 or higher than 9 in the circles. So, but I could, But I could still put 1 or 9 on... In fact, I probably do have to put 1 or 9 on the whisper line somewhere. And 5 could easily go on... And while I know I've got to put 4 or 6 on here, the other one... So let's say this is high and I put 6 here. I can't put 4 on there. Hang on, if this was 6, where would I put 4? 4 would go right there, but it could. And then 4 would go there. And if blue is low, blue can't be low. Blue is high. And I'm going to swap the colors over and then I'm going to show you why. Blue is high. Sorry, I've now swapped them over and these are high. And I can show you why. If these were low, say, then these couldn't have been 2, 2, 4 because 2, 4 is here. These would have had to have been 1, 3. Now, 2, 4 can't go in those cells. If these had been high, these would have had to have been 2, 4. This was 1, 3. And where does this cell go in the box? This cell would have had to have gone in the box. It couldn't have gone in those because they were high. It couldn't have gone in those because they would have been 2, 4. There was nowhere for it to go. This cell would have had nowhere to go in this box. So we now know that that is very, very weird. I possibly should have given that example before I swapped the colors. Sorry about that. But this cell, if these two had been low, would have had, this cell could not have gone in this box because I would have had to have put that cell and the 2 and 4 into those. So now we know these are 1, 2, 3, 4, and I cannot put, so this is 9. So one of those is 4. These are 1, 2, and 3 because I can't put 4 in them because they will cause a duplication. This has to be 1. I have to put 6 in here because these are 6, 7, 8, 9. There's no 6 here. Can't put a 1 there. Can't put a 9 there, but I could still put a 1 there probably. One of these has to be 9. One of those has to be 1. Because whichever one the 4 is has to go next to a 9. Okay. What does that get me? Well, this is... Now, I took 4 out of... Oh, I can't put 6 in there. So this is 7, 8, 9. But I've got... So 5 and 6 go into those. And 4 and 5 go into those. But that's not that restrictive. This is 2, 3, or 4. Can't be 4. This is 2 or 3. If this is 3, this is 8, 9. I can't put 4 in either of those either. This is 1, 2, 3. So that must have a 1 in it. Which means this is not 1. So if that's not 1, that's not 4? Because 1, 2, 4, 2, 4, 8, 1, 2, 4, 2, 4. Yeah, that's not 4 anymore. So 4 is in one of those two. So, and that lines up with the 1 being down there. Okay, so this is very strange. Now, I can't put 6 in those. So these are 7, 8, 9. One of them can be 7. Surely it's got to be more restricted up here, but how do I... So what can these be? They can't be 4. So these are 1, 2, 3 because they cannot be 4. Because if I put 4 in there, I'd have to put the same digit into those. So what can these be? I can't do 6, so these are 7, 8, 9, because if I did 6, these would have to be the same. And this is, can't be 6, so this is 7 or 8. So this is basically mirrored this. Now the difference is I've got a 1 locked, oh yeah, and now there is a 9 locked into, these can't be 1 or 9. Because there's a 9 looking down. So there's no 1 or 9 in the circles. Which puts a lot of pressure on this between line. Because I can't, if I put a 1 in here, there's no 1, this becomes a 2, 3 pair, and that's broken. If I put a 9 in there, I can't do a 1 obviously, but if I put a 9 in here, this becomes an 8, a 7, 8 pair, and that becomes broken. What? So what can these be? So I've got to have 5 different digits along here. So if I made these the absolute extremes, 2 and 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do these have to be 2 and 8? And these be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? I think they do. Because I have to put 5 different digits along here. So these have to be from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5 different digits. These have to be 2 and 8 because they can't be. And these are from 1 to 8 and 9. How does that work? Now, if this is a 1, this goes 2, 3, and that breaks that. This is not a 1. If this is a 2, goes 3. This is not a 2. This has to be an 8 or a 9. If this is an 8, it goes 7, 6. And if it's a 9, it goes 8. So if this is an 8, it goes 7, 6, because it can't go 8, 9, something. And if it's 9, it goes 8, 7. And if this went 9, 8, 7, this would be both 9s. That doesn't work. This is to go 8, 7, 6, which takes 7 out of those. These are both high. This is high. This is the 2, which is low. Probably don't need to worry about high, low. This becomes 8. There's no 2 or 8 there. This is a 1, 9. There's no 8 there. But there must be a 2 in there. This is very strange. But I like it. This is now the 6, which makes this the 1, which makes this the 1. There's no 6 there. There must be a 7 in one of those two for the 7, 8, 9 across there. So there's no 7 there. If there's a 7 in one of those two, that must be a 2. And either of them work because it would be between 1 and 2. This is very odd. There's no, this is a 3 because of the 2 looking down, which means this is a 2. That's fine for all of that. The 8, 9 is looking up. This is a 1. I take 1 out of those. That's a 2, 9 pair. That is low. Do I want to keep colour? Yeah, I might. I don't know if it's going to come useful, particularly with some of this stuff. There's no 8 up here now. There's no 2. This is a 1. This is a 2. This is a 4. So those are all low. These are actually known. These are 4 and 5. And we know the order. That's the 5. That's the 4, which becomes low. There's no 5 in there. There's no 4 in there. This is 3, 6, 7. Now, if this is 3, this would have to be 2 or 4, and it can't be. So that's not 3. 6 would make this 5 or 7. 7 would make this 6 or 8. It can't be 8. Okay. Actually, I've done this wrong. What am I missing here? I'm going to completely undo that because I've done this completely wrong. Because these are correct. This has to be a 6, 7 pair. I'm missing something from up here. Because that 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that has to be the 8 because I cannot put an 8 on this line because that's a between line. That's an 8 and I've just completely gotten that wrong. So that takes 8 out of those. That's a 7, 9 pair. So one of those has to be 7. One of those has to be 7. So can I use that to narrow down? Well, that's not an 8. So that's a 7, 9 pair. So that's an 8, which means anything is possible there. One of those is 7, which is going to make one of those not be 3, but I've already got the fact that one of those is not going to be 3. Bug is telling me that's going to be 8, but I don't want to use that. And I'm not even going to explain it. That's something for later. This is a 6, 7. Do I want to mark what these... I think, actually... So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Well, 3 is not consecutive with any of them. This is also a quad, which I'm going to put in 3, 4, 5, and 9. Well, there's no 9 there. There's no 4 in either of those. So, oh, what am I doing? I can remove 6, 7 from there. So this is 5. This is 3. 5 is next to 6. So that is low. That is high. Whoops. That is high. That is high because it's 7. I can remove 3. Wow, and 5 comes out of there. That is 4, 9. I can take 9 out of there. I can take 3 and 5 out of there. And we have some progress. The 7, 9, it gives us even more. That is 6 and that is 7. Those are both high. 3 and 5, not sure yet. 4 and 9, not sure yet. 7 comes out of all of those. 6 and 5 come out of those. There's no 6 there. Now, these are actually known because that's a triple. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And there's no 4 in either of those. So that is a 4, which I will label as low. That is a 3, 5 pair. I can take a 4 out of there. Are these whisper lines giving me anything? I don't think they are. Because of the way these lows have been laid out, any of these digits could go into any of those cells. Once I get one, the rest will resolve. But I think they're not forced at this point. So I need to come into this from another direction. I think I want to look at these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yuck. 7, 8, 9. That's not good. So, oh, no, bad. There's no 3 or 8 there. Now, if this is... Oh, that's bad. That's not what I wanted to do, is it? That was... There's no 7, 8 or 9 there, so that's 3, 5 or 6. It's not 3 because they're all taken up here. So that is 5 or 6. I think I just looked at that very wrong. This is a pair. Let's look at that pair. This is 3 or 7. This is a triple because I've got a 7, 8, 9 triple. So what is this? This is 1, 2, 4, or 5. So this is a triple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9. Which, that's an 8. Okay, does that give me anything? Well, these are all high. That's looking down. That is a 6. That is a 9. So there's no 6 there. 6 now has to be in one of those two for the row. So that is not a 6. Yeah. At this point, I'm just doing bad Sudoku, aren't I? 7, 9 looking down, that is not that. So these are 2, 3, 4, or 5. 6. Where does 6 go in row 3? 6 cannot go in any of those cells because of stuff looking at them, and that 6C's there. This has to be the 6. So this is not the 6, and this is the 6, which makes it high. And this is high. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But one of those has to be 7, so that can't be a 3. Can I do that trick somewhere else? I don't. Oh. I'm not sure. This is low. This is 2, 3, 4, or 5. But that's not... Oh, that 9 means that that's a 2 and that's a 9. So we've got a low and a high. That 2 means that's not a 2. Well, you already knew that there was a 9 up there. The 2 doesn't really do much, does it? It means there's a 2 in one of those. Two is in one of those two. But that doesn't force that to be a 3, does it? Is there something else that has to be in those two? Not that I can see. 1, 1, 1, 1. I am missing something. 5 is in one of those two for the column, so that is not a 5. So that is low. It's not really... It's bugging me that I know that's an 8. Because otherwise we've got a uniqueness problem. Actually, we may not have a uniqueness problem because the whisper line may resolve it. So this is 2, 3, 4, or 5. But I'm not seeing how to reduce any of those. 6 is in one of those two. 6 is in one of those two. 8 is down here. And 2 is down here. So either 8 or 2 goes on that line, on that dot. But that doesn't actually restrict anything. It means 4 is in one of those. I can't put 4 there. Or can I? No, because if I did 4, 3 here, then this would have to be simultaneously 2 and 8, and that's not going to work. Is there a reason I can't put 4 there? No. That's all fine. Whichever one is a 7 is going to restrict that, but I don't know which it is. Where's the progress here? So 5 is in one of these two. Which means 5 is in one of those two. But that, again... Five is in one of those three. One can't go in any of those. So 1 is in one of those two? Because if I put 1 down here, it'd have to go there. And then I'd have to fit 2 and 8 into those two, and that doesn't work. It's got to be in here. Do I now need to pressure 7 up here? Because if I put... Oh, no, but I can do 7, 8, 2, and that all works. Or 7, 8, 2. Or 2, 3, 8. Or 9, 8, 2 with a 7 above. Ugh. But we know 2 is in one of those two. We know 1 is in one of those two. I am stuck. I am completely stuck. Okay, so what's the thing to do here? If this is 4, this is 9, this is 7, this is 1 or 2. So this is 4, this is 9, this is 3. Which makes this not... This is 4, this is 9. This is 7, so these become 1 and 2. So this becomes 3, and if this is 3, this can't be 7, this has to be 9. That can't be the 4. That's the 4. That is not clean. Well, it is clean, but I didn't see that very easily. So there's no 9 there. There's no 4 there. Okay, what does that give me? Something? Now I have to put a 3 in one of those, so that has to be an 8. That 9 makes that a 7, which makes that a 9. Now that means that can't be a 3. There must be a 3 in one of those, so there's no 3 there. This is a 1-2 pair, so there's no 2 there. There's a 4-5, that becomes a 2. Let's make it low while I'm thinking about it. There's no 2 there. This is a 3-5 pair, which holds true for the 1-2 I've just got. There must be a 3 in one of those, so that's a 5 and that's a 3, which means that's a 5 and that is not a 5. That 4 trick, that was hard for me to see. The only place I can put 4 now is there, which is low, which makes this 5 and this 4, which is low. 4 is now in one of those two. In fact, I take 5 out of there. This is a 3-4 pair. So those two are the same digit. These are 1, 2, 3, and 6. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. Which forces 7 into one of those two? If 7 is in one of those two, can I do the 8 trick thing? Not really. That's not an 8 though. So 8, that's a 2-8 pair. Which is not helping. This is 3-5-7. So that has to be the 4. So that's a 3 and that's a 5. 3-5-7 triple. That's a 7, that's a 3, that's a 2, that's an 8. That is all forced. Okay. The 3-5-7 triple is what I needed to spot. So those are low. That's the 4. This is also low. That becomes a 9 and that becomes a 4. That is high, that is low. There is no 4 there. This is actually a 1-9 pair, which means this, is that 1-9 pair resolved? Not that I can see. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which is resolved. That is the 6, that is the 5. The 6 is not low, it's high. This is 1 and 7, which is resolved by the 1, 2 looking down. That's the 7, that's the 1. So this is the 3, and this is the 7. This is the 6, and this is the 3. At this point, I'm just going to get rid of all of the colouring. Okay. Now... and this is where I find out the colouring was absolutely vital. So the between line is done, the consecutive dots are done, the Kropki dots are done. The whisper dots down here have been done for ages. That's all good, that's all good, that's all good, that's all good, that's all good. So it is just Sudoku. I just need to find the thing that is looking at the thing. There'll be a thing looking at a thing. 2 makes that 1, which makes that 2, which makes that 1, which takes 1 out of those. That becomes a 2, 3 pair. The 2 looks up, making that 3 and that 2. The 3 looks down, making that 5 and that 3. The 5 looks up, making that 7 and that 5. The 7 takes 7 out of there, making that 7. The 1 looks down, making that 9, which makes that 1. The 9 looks down, making that 8, and that 9, which looks over, making that 8, and I put in a 9. And that is Mum by James Kopp. That was kind of insane. Wouldn't have called that a family-friendly puzzle from the perspective of my mother is now actually setting puzzles. I set one with her last night to include into the polarizing Sudoku pack, which I'm releasing. But she would absolutely not be able to solve this one on her own. I think this would melt her brain. She's nearly 80, and yeah, this is not a puzzle for my mum. Hopefully it's a puzzle for yours. I hope you enjoyed that one. That was a little mind-melting. I really liked the way you could lock the parity in by using the fact that you needed to put 4s and 6s in here, which would force a conflict in column 5. That was cool, but this puzzle was tricky from start to finish. Suppose that's the thing. Finding something for your mum, always a bit tricky, but you should always find time for your mum. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the puzzle. I know I did. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the channel. Feel free to always, if you're not a subscriber, please join me. Feel free to join us on the Discord. The Discord is going through a rename at the moment because there's a lot of contributors and there's a lot of presenters on the Discord now who are not just doing Sudoku. So we're looking at going through a rename to be something more appropriate. As soon as the rename comes through, I will start updating my description to everything. But at the moment, it's still the Sudoku Solvers Discord, or at least it is at time of me recording. So feel free to join us on the Discord where there is a Bremster discussion forum. Feel free to give me a like or comment below. If you really want to be a bit silly, feel free to give me one of those super thanks and spend some money. You don't need to do that. Feel free to jump onto my Patreon. When I post the polarizing Sudoku pack, it will be posted to my Patreon, but it will be a free post. You do not need to pay to get it. So do not worry about that. Thank you everyone for watching, and as always, good luck with your solving. Happy Mother's Day.